Hi, everybody. Great to be here and great that they put a session on for the uranium explorers and future developers in this session. So, yeah, great job on the speaker floor. As mentioned, I've come onto Orpheus Uranium as CEO, geological background, been working within the uranium industry for about the last 16 years, seen the cycles that have occurred through that period with that growth in 2007 and 8, dropping off after Fukushima and then really picking back up again. And with that, personally, I saw a really good opportunity to take on a role with a business in Orpheus Uranium, transitioning onto the stock market from its predecessor in February this year, to take on a role with tenure that is really exciting for a greenfields exploration. So the usual disclaimer, as the others have pointed out, forward-looking statements and etc. So who is Orpheus Uranium? We're a junior explorer, and I think this is a really key feature of the business, a junior greenfields explorer. We're looking at setting ourselves a position within the market that we don't have a resource, but we're looking at that real growth of our business through discovery and looking in these areas that are proximal to other known deposits, but still giving us that ability to grow through discovery. I think that's a really key feature of our business as we move forward. With that, we've confined our preliminary projects, or the projects under development, to South Australia and Northern Territory, acknowledging that these projects are jurisdictions that allow uranium exploration and mining, but also they hold tier 1 prospects. When we have a look in South Australia, we've got projects around the Frome Embayment or Callabona Subbasin, which hosts the 4 Mile and Beverley deposit as well as the Honeymoon deposit. And as we extend up north, we look at the Pine Creek origin and looking at those unconformity style deposits in Ranger and Jabiluka, etc. So for us, we're really looking at developing this portfolio. We're looking at leveraging off the existing portfolio that holds a lot of merit on its own, but looking at leveraging and building that portfolio. So really interested in looking technically at projects and bringing them on board as well. With that, we've got a technically intelligent team. I've had, as mentioned, quite a lot of experience, 16 years in uranium, looking at pushing those skills onto the other staff member and bringing a team together that can really analyse and assess projects and develop them. With that, we've got 100% owned assets at the moment and working through advancing all of those projects. So just to quickly touch on, for those that aren't familiar, unconformity style uranium, more conventional mining, Ranger, Jabiluka, places of the Northern Territory, and probably some basin as well. When we have a look at sedimentary style uranium, we're looking at the alligator type mineralization, so low cost, lower grade, and slightly different types of resource analysis. I'll start with the Northern Territory. We've got quite a good foothold here, and we're looking at developing these assets further. We're looking at the Pine Creek origin. This is for unconformity and vein style mineralization. This is a known sort of area that hosts multiple deposits here. So we're looking at our key project being Mount Douglas, which is located within the southwest of Kakadu. With Mount Douglas, we've just started to undertake ground-based reconnaissance on a regional aspects, looking at following up on radiometric anomalies, collaborating with the NTGS to deliver some gravity surveys to bring back in and really assess where we sit within or the geology in that particular area. We do have the Cambolgi sandstone, which geologically is quite important for the unconformity style of deposit within here, within that particular region. When we have a look a little bit closer at one of the main prospects within this area, we're starting to see that we've gained an MMP approval to undertake advanced stage activities through the Northern Territory Geological or Northern Territory Government. With the reconnaissance currently underway, we're seeing elevations in the rock chips at the surface up to 750 ppm, which is really quite impressive. As we start to look at that, we're starting to trek that particular area down, looking at doing trenching to see the extension or the width of this particular anomalies that are trackable at the surface and seeing whether or not that's proximal or feeding off a larger scale deposit that feeds under the Cambolgi. So quite active with the fieldwork at the moment up there. Our key projects in South Australia are formed around the Frome project. This is approximately 12 kilometres from Boss's Gould's Dam, again contained within that really fertile basin, the Callabona Subbasin area that hosts multiple deposits. We look at Radium Hill South, which is on the northern Murray Basin. and again, an area of interest to multiple explorers at the moment, and really opening up as a new province to explore. And then we've got the Munderno and Woolshed project, which are proximal to Honeymoon. As we work through, we're again looking at strategically developing that portfolio, looking at high quality assets that contain all the ingredients that are required for uranium mineralization. Our Frome project, as mentioned, this is probably one of the marquee projects. We've leveraged off a lot of historical data. We do call ourselves a greenfields explorer, but we've picked up assets that actually have a real backlog of historical data. So with the Frome project in particular, that's got about 80,000 meters of drilling. That's come from what's now Orano, or previously Areva, and funnily enough, I worked out there as a graduate, so it's really good to come back and have a look at a project with new eyes and 15 or 16 years of knowledge as well. So with that, it contains, the project areas contain known footprints of mineralization and multiple prospects, and all the mechanisms for mineralization within this province in this particular area, source rock, the right sedimentary systems in terms of the Namba and air formation which host mineralization, and we're really focused in on the Arudina prospect area. With the Arudina prospect, as touched on, this has been delineated previously, but wide-spaced delineation. We've got to recognise that with updated interpretations and a paradigm shift within the models that are created, a lot of these sedimentary type systems have a lot smaller of a footprint that was previously sought after. So when we have done a review of historical data and identified a target area that's 12 kilometres by 7 kilometres, but the drill hole spacings on 1 kilometre lines, we have this real ability to be able to fit mineralising fronts between those particular holes. And what we're trying to do is leverage off that historical data to start to come up with the characteristics of roll front mineralisation to then really prioritise where we're going to go out and work. And I think the map up there doesn't look like much, but it's really quite simple when it comes to these roll front type deposits, that you want to be on that interface between oxidized and reduced. So as we start to have a look at it, we've got the oxidized in the orange, we've got what we're calling transitional zone in the middle, and this is the potential for reductants and oxidants to occur in that in the sedimentary package, and then the reduced. So we've really been able to focus in on our production area in the area, or the area for delineation, based upon that review of that historical data that we're pulling back in and working into our workflow process. A similar situation with Radium Hill South. This is south of the Radium Hill uranium fields that were discovered early, I think in about 1900s. We're here looking at, again, the same type of opportunity where we've got a lot of historical data, about 40,000 meters of drilling through this particular area, leveraging off the work that had been done up until Fukushima. There's been 5 areas identified as potential prospects. The same situation, we've really pulled back, utilize that historical data, and are implementing that into the workflow programs. And again, a simple map, but it means a lot. It means rather than trying to explore that whole tenement, we're trying to explore as a high priority target that interface of that oxidized and reduced zone. So starting to narrow down the work that's required and get out in the ground and hit it running. Munderno and Woolshed, this is south of Honeymoon. These are some of our other projects that we've been working through and looking to develop. Really trying to develop that project pipeline so that it means that we can progress from one project to another and really analyse multiple areas, bringing in that scientific knowledge to make that pipeline a really valued and valuable asset to the business. In terms of the business itself, we've got quite a strong shareholding in the top 20. We've got quite a good board of directors that have been background in uranium exploration, or uranium, which is quite unique. Our market capital is down at the 6 million at the moment. We do see that potential growth or jumping on board now for that growth to occur upon working up these really advanced projects that we've got. So for us, a business that's uniquely exploring for uranium, greenfields of uranium within Australia in particular. We've got a technical team that we're looking at developing and growing those insights so they can be fed into the actual work that we're doing and maximise the return that you're getting. The tenure that we've got as our baseline now is in really tier 1 districts and has a really good volume of data associated with it so that we can look at progressing that cost effectively and efficiently. Similarly, the prospectivity of those particular areas are really quite advantageous and something that we really want to exploit and work on. And then, developing the project pipeline. So really interested in hearing about any other projects that people have or looking over them and on their technical merits. Thank you very much.